The first time I saw Maya Chen, I convinced myself I hated her. It was the beginning of senior year at Riverside High, and I had everything figured out. I was captain of the debate team, maintained a 4.0 GPA, and had my college applications practically written in my head. My best friend since kindergarten, Sophie, and I had planned out our entire final year together, right down to which coffee shop we'd study at on Thursdays. Then Maya transferred in from San Francisco, and suddenly nothing felt as certain as it had before. She walked into our AP literature class on the second day of school, 15 minutes late, with this effortless confidence that made everyone stop and stare. Her dark hair was cut in a sharp bob that swung when she moved, and she wore a leather jacket over a vintage banty that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. Mrs. Patterson didn't even scold her for being late. She just smiled and gestured to the empty seat, the one right next to me. "Hi," Maya said, dropping her bag on the floor with a thud. "I'm Maya Riley," I managed, my voice coming out colder than I intended. She didn't seem bothered. She just pulled out a battered copy of The Great Gatsby and started reading, occasionally tucking her hair behind her ear in this way that I found inexplicably annoying. Over the next few weeks, I watched Maya integrate into our school's social ecosystem with remarkable ease. She joined the art club and immediately became their star member. She made the varsity soccer team even though she'd never played for our school before. Teachers loved her, students gravitated toward her, and worst of all, Sophie became completely obsessed with befriending her. "Riley, you have to meet Maya properly," Sophie gushed one day at lunch. "She's so cool. She lived in Tokyo for 2 years, and she's already been to like 15 countries. "Great," I said flatly, stabbing at my salad. "What's your problem?" Sophie asked, her eyebrows furrowing. "You've been weird about her since she got here." "I don't have a problem," I lied. "I just don't see what the big deal is." But I did see it. Everyone saw it. Maya was magnetic in a way I couldn't understand or compete with. And when Sophie started spending more and more time with her studying together, going to art galleries downtown, texting constantly, I felt something dark and ugly twist in my chest. Jealousy. I told myself, "You're just jealous because Sophie is your best friend and you don't want to share her." That explanation made sense. It was rational. It was safe. It was also completely wrong. The turning point came in October, when Mrs. Patterson assigned partner projects for our uni on modernist literature. I was fully prepared to pair up with Sophie, as we always did, but Mrs. Patterson had other ideas. "I'm assigning partners this time," she announced, and my stomach dropped. "I want you all to work with someone outside your usual circle." I held my breath as she read through the list. Riley Martinez and Maya Chen. Of course the universe would do this to me. Maya turned in her seat and gave me a small smile. "Guess we're partners." "Guess so," I replied, trying to keep my voice neutral. We agreed to meet at the public library that Saturday to start working on our analysis of Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. I arrived 15 minutes early, as I always did, and set up at a table in the quiet study section with my laptop, 3 different colored highlighters, and a detailed outline I'd already prepared. Maya showed up exactly on time, carrying only a worn leather notebook and a pencil. "You're very prepared," she observed, eyeing my setup with what looked like amusement. "I like to be organized," I said defensively. "I can see that." She sat down across from me, and I caught a whiff of her perfume, something earthy and expensive. "So, I read the book last night. What did you think?" "Last night? The whole thing?" "Yeah, I'm a fast reader." She opened her notebook, which I could now see was filled with neat handwriting and small sketches in the margins. "I thought the way Woolf handles time was really interesting. The way past and present blur together." Despite my determination to remain aloof, I found myself drawn into the conversation. Maya had insights I hadn't considered, perspectives that challenged my initial interpretations. She listened when I talked, really listened. Her dark eyes focused entirely on me in a way that made my skin feel warm. We worked for 3 hours, and I barely noticed the time passing. We should probably call it for today, Maya said eventually, stretching her arms above her head. Want to grab coffee? There's a good place around the corner. I should have said no. I should have made an excuse and gone home to the safety of my room where I could analyze these confusing feelings in private. Instead, I heard myself say, sure. The coffee shop was small and cozy, with mismatched furniture and local art on the walls. Maya ordered something complicated with oat milk and extra espresso. I got my usual vanilla latte. So, Maya said, once we'd settled into a corner booth, why don't you like me? I nearly choked on my coffee. What? You've been cold to me since the first day, she said matter-of-factly. I'm just curious why. I haven't been cold, I stammered. She raised an eyebrow. Riley, come on. I stared into my latte, watching the foam dissolve. I don't not like you. Sophie's my best friend. We've been best friends forever. And then you showed up, and suddenly she's always with you. And you felt left out. Maya finished gently. Yeah, it was a relief to admit it. Even if it wasn't the complete truth. I wasn't trying to steal your best friend, Maya said. Sophie's great. But I can tell you to have something special. I would never want to get in the way of that. The sincerity in her voice caught me off guard. Really, she smiled. And I noticed for the first time that she had a tiny gap between her front teeth. Besides, I was kind of hoping we could be friends too. You're really smart, Riley, and you're passionate about things. I like that. My heart did something strange in my chest, a flutter that I'd never felt before. I'd like that, I said quietly. After that day at the library, things changed. Maya and I started texting about the project, then about other things, funny memes, complaints about homework, random thoughts at midnight. We'd grab coffee after school sometimes, or study together in the library. Sophie was thrilled that we were finally getting along. I knew you'd like her once you got to know her, she said triumphantly. And she was right. I did like Maya, maybe too much. The more time I spent with her, the harder it became to ignore the way my pulse quickened when she laughed at my jokes, or how I found myself looking forward to seeing her in class each day, or how I'd started dressing a little more carefully in the mornings, wondering if she'd notice. I tried to convince myself it was just the excitement of a new friendship. But then there was the day in November when everything became impossible to deny. We were at Maya's house, working on our final presentation. Her room was exactly what I'd imagined, walls covered in art prints and concert posters, shelves full of books in both English and Chinese, a desk cluttered with paint supplies and half-finished sketches. You're really talented, I said, picking up a watercolor painting of a sunset over water. Thanks. Maya was sitting on her bed, laptop balanced on her knees. That's from last summer. My family rented a house in Maine for a week. It's beautiful. You can have it if you want. I looked at her in surprise. Really? Yeah, I want you to have it. There was something in the way she said it, in the way she was looking at me, that made my breath catch. I set the painting down carefully and sat next to her on the bed, suddenly hyper-aware of how close we were. Maya, I started, not sure what I was going to say. Yeah. Before I could answer, her mom called up the stairs about dinner, and the moment broke. But something had shifted between us, subtle as a change in the light. That night, lying in bed, I finally let myself think the thought I'd been pushing away for weeks. I didn't just want to be Maya's friend. I wanted to hold her hand. I wanted to know what her hair smelled like. I wanted to kiss her. I was falling in love with her. The realization should have terrified me. I'd never thought about girls that way before, at least. I'd never let myself think about girls that way. There had been moments, little sparks of attraction that I'd quickly smothered and reframed as admiration or friendship. But this was different. This was overwhelming and undeniable. I picked up my phone and stared at our text conversation. Maya had sent me a meme about procrastination 10 minutes ago. I could just respond normally, keep pretending everything was fine. Instead, I set my phone down and pressed my palms against my eyes. What was I supposed to do with this? The next few weeks were torture. I was hyper-aware of Maya's every movement, every smile, every casual touch. When she'd brush against me in the hallway or lean over my shoulder to look at my notes, I'd freeze up completely. Sophie noticed. "Of course. Are you okay?" she asked one day at lunch. "You've been acting weird." "I'm fine," I lied. "Just stressed about college applications." Maya wasn't there that day. She had a soccer game and I felt both relieved and disappointed by her absence. "Is everything okay with you and Maya?" Sophie pressed. "You guys got really close and now you seem—" "I don't know," jumpy around her. "Everything's fine," I insisted. But it wasn't fine. I was a mess. I'd lie awake at night analyzing every interaction we'd had, looking for signs that maybe she felt the same way. The way she always saved me a seat in class. The way she'd started sending me songs she thought I'd like. The way she looked at me sometimes, like I was the only person in the room. Or maybe I was just imagining it all. Maybe this was wishful thinking. Maybe Maya was straight and I was setting myself up for heartbreak. I tried to create some distance, responding to her texts less frequently, making excuses when she asked to hang out. But that only made things worse. I missed her constantly. Then came the day in early December when everything came to a head. We were in the art room after school. Maya was painting and I was supposedly working on an essay. But mostly I was just watching her work. She was wearing an old flannel shirt covered in paint stains, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, completely focused on the canvas in front of her. "You're staring," she said without looking up. I felt my face heat. "Sorry, I was just the painting is really good." "You huh?" She set down her brush and turned to face me fully. "Riley, what's going on?" "What do you mean? You've been avoiding me for the past 2 weeks. Did I do something wrong?" No, you didn't do anything wrong." "Then what is it?" She moved closer, concern evident in her eyes. "I thought we were friends, but lately it feels like you can barely stand to be around me." "That's not." I stood up abruptly, my chair scraping against the floor. "It's not that." "Then what?" Maya stood too, and suddenly we were very close. Close enough that I could see the flecks of gold in her brown eyes. "I can't," my voice cracked. "I can't tell you." "Why not?" "Because I'm terrified. Because I don't know what I'm feeling. Because you might hate me. Because everything might change. Because it's complicated," I whispered. Maya reached out and gently touched my arm. "Riley, you can tell me anything. You know that, right?" And maybe it was the tenderness in her voice, or the way she was looking at me, or the fact that I was exhausted from carrying this secret alone. But suddenly the words were spilling out. "I think I like you more than friends. And I know that's probably weird and you probably don't feel the same way. And I'm sorry if this makes everything awkward, but I can't keep pretending." "Riley," Maya's hand moved from my arm to my face, her thumb brushing my cheek. "Stop." I fell silent, my heart hammering against my ribs. "Can I kiss you?" she asked softly. I could barely breathe. "Yes." She leaned in slowly, giving me time to pull away if I wanted to. I didn't want to. When her lips met mine, soft and warm and perfect, something inside me clicked into place. This was right. This was what I'd been denying myself. The kiss was gentle and brief, but when she pulled back, we were both smiling. "I like you too," Maya said. "I have for a while now. I was just waiting for you to figure it out." "You knew?" "Riley, you're really smart about most things, but you're kind of oblivious when it comes to this." She laughed, and I laughed too, giddy with relief and joy. I started. I've never been with a girl before. I've never really been with anyone before. That's okay. We can figure it out together." She laced her fingers through mine. "Is this okay?" I squeezed her hand. "Yeah, this is more than okay." We decided to keep things quiet at first, not because we were ashamed, but because we wanted to figure out what we were doing before dealing with everyone else's reactions and questions. In the halls at school, we were still just friends, but in private, everything was different. Maya would pick me up on Saturday mornings, and we'd drive to the next town over, holding hands across the center console, stealing kisses at red lights. We'd spend hours in bookstores and coffee shops where no one knew us, where we could just be ourselves, Tell me something you've never told anyone, Maya said one afternoon. We were lying on a blanket in a secluded corner of the park, watching clouds drift across the December sky. I used to think something was wrong with me, I admitted. In middle school, all my friends would talk about which boys they had crushes on, and I could never relate. I'd pretend, pick some random guy to claim I liked, but I never really felt it. And now? Maya asked, rolling onto her side to look at me. Now I know there was never anything wrong with me. I was just looking in the wrong direction. I turned my head to meet her eyes. What about you? Have you always known? Sort of. I had a huge crush on my camp counselor when I was 13, then on my best friend in Tokyo. But I didn't really come out to myself until sophomore year. She traced patterns on my palm with her fingertip. My parents they struggled with it at first. They're better now. But it took time. Are you worried about telling them about us? A little, but they'll come around. They usually do, she smiled. What about your parents? I thought about my mom and dad, their traditional values, their expectations for my future. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. This is all still so new. We don't have to tell anyone until you're ready, Maya assured me. There's no rush. But keeping it secret was harder than I expected. Every time Maya smiled at me in class, I wanted to kiss her. When she texted me something sweet, I wanted to post it for the world to see, and it was getting increasingly difficult to hide my feelings from Sophie. You seem really happy lately, Sophie observed one day, like glowing. What's going on? Nothing, I said, too quickly. I'm just in a good mood. She narrowed her eyes. Riley Martinez, are you seeing someone? My silence was answer enough. Oh my God, you are. Who is it? Do I know him? She gasped. Is it Marcus from debate team? He's been staring at you lately. It's not Marcus, I interrupted. Then who? I wanted to tell her. Sophie was my best friend, and keeping this from her felt wrong. But I also wasn't ready for all the questions and reactions that would come with coming out. I can't tell you yet, I said finally. But soon, okay? I promise. Sophie pouted, but accepted it. Fine. But I expect all the details when you're ready. Things were perfect for about a month. Then came winter formal. I'd always planned to skip it. School dances weren't really my thing. But Sophie was on the planning committee and insisted I had to go. And Maya, ever the social butterfly, had already agreed to help set up. You should come, Maya texted me one evening. It'll be fun. I don't really do dances, I replied. Come on, just for an hour. You can leave early if you hate it. I didn't want to go, but I did want to see Maya. Even if we had to pretend to just be friends, fine. 1 hour? The night of the dance, I put on a simple black dress and minimal makeup. Sophie picked me up, chattering excitedly about the decorations and the DJ and who was going with whom. The gym had been transformed with fairy lights and silver streamers. Music pounded from massive speakers. Everyone was dressed up and laughing, moving in groups around the dance floor. I spotted Maya immediately. She was wearing a deep green dress that made my heart stutter. Her hair styled in soft waves. She was talking to a group of people from the soccer team, smiling and animated. Then I saw him, Jason Parker, senior class president and notorious flirt, had his hand on Maya's arm. He was leaning in close, saying something that made her laugh. And even though I knew it was innocent, even though I had no claim on her in public, jealousy surged through me like acid. I watched them for a few more minutes, torture myself. Before I couldn't take it anymore, I found Sophie and told her I wasn't feeling well, that I needed to leave. Already? You just got here. I know, I'm sorry. I'll text you later. I was almost to the parking lot when I heard someone calling my name. Maya jogged up to me, slightly breathless. Hey, where are you going? Home. I told you dances aren't my thing, Riley. She touched my arm and I pulled away. Her flashed across her face. What's wrong? Nothing. Don't do that. Don't shut me out. I turned to face her fully. You were flirting with Jason. What? No, I wasn't. We were just talking about the student council. He had his hand on your arm. You were laughing at everything he said. Maya's expression shifted from confusion to understanding to frustration. Riley, are you serious right now? You're jealous? I'm not, I started. But I couldn't finish the lie. We agreed to keep this quiet. You wanted to keep this quiet, Maya said, her voice rising slightly. So what exactly did you expect? That I ignore everyone else? That I'd stand in the corner alone all night? I'd just seen you with him. Jason is not interested in me that way, and I'm definitely not interested in him. But even if he was, you don't get to be upset about it when you won't even acknowledge that we're together. That's not fair, isn't it? Maya crossed her arms. I've been patient, Riley. I understand that you're still figuring things out, but I can't be your secret forever. I'm not asking you to be a secret. Then what are you asking? Because from where I'm standing, it feels like you want all the benefits of having a girlfriend without any of the actual relationship. The word girlfriend sent a jolt through me. We'd never actually defined what we were. Is that what you are? I asked quietly. My girlfriend. Maya's anger seemed to deflate. I thought so, but maybe I was wrong about what you wanted. Maya, I'm going back inside, she said, and I could hear the hurt in her voice. Text me when you figure out what you actually want. She walked away, leaving me standing alone in the parking lot with tears stinging my eyes. I drove home in a daze and went straight to my room, ignoring my parents' questions about why I was back so early. I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the fight over and over. Maya was right. I was being unfair. I wanted her, but I was too scared to claim her publicly, too scared of what people would think, what my parents would say, how it would change my carefully constructed life. But losing her, that scared me more than anything. Around midnight, there was a soft knock on my door. My mom poked her head in. Can't sleep? She asked. Not really. She came in and sat on the edge of my bed. Want to talk about it? I almost said no, like I always did. But maybe it was time to stop running from the truth. Mom, what would you say if I told you I was dating someone? I asked carefully. I'd say it's about time. She replied with a gentle smile. You've been walking around with your head in the clouds for weeks. Who's the lucky person? The lucky person, not lucky guy. I took a deep breath. Her name is Maya. My mom's expression didn't change, but there was a moment of stillness. Maya Chen, your friend from school. Yeah, and you're dating. We were. I think I might have messed it up tonight. I sat up, pulling my knees to my chest. Mom, are you? Is this okay? She was quiet for a moment, and my heart hammered with anxiety. Then she reached over and took my hand. Riley, I love you. That doesn't change based on who you love. Her voice was steady and warm. I'll admit, this is a surprise, but all I've ever wanted is for you to be happy. Does Maya make you happy? Tears spilled over. Yeah, she really does. Then that's all that matters to me. She pulled me into a hug. Your father will feel the same way, I promise. We love you, sweetheart. I cried into her shoulder, relief and gratitude washing over me. I was so scared to tell you, I know, but you never have to be scared of being yourself with us, okay? I nodded, unable to speak. After my mom left, I picked up my phone and started typing a message to Maya. I'm sorry. You were right about everything. I was being unfair to you. I just told my mom about us. I want to tell everyone. I don't want to hide anymore. You're not just my girlfriend or the person I want everyone to know about. If you'll still have me, I hit send before I could second guess myself. The 3 dots indicating she was typing appeared almost immediately. They disappeared. Appear again. Finally, a message came through. Come over tomorrow? We should talk in person. I'll be there first thing in the morning. Riley? Yeah, I'm proud of you. I fell asleep with my phone clutched to my chest, a smile on my face despite everything. I showed up at Maya's house at 9 the next morning with coffee and apology croissants from her favorite bakery. She answered the door in pajama pants and an oversized sweatshirt, her hair messy from sleep. Hi, I said nervously. Hi. She took the coffee I offered. Come in. We went up to her room and sat on her bed. the same spot where we'd had our first kiss. For a moment, neither of us spoke. I'm sorry, I said finally, for last night, for making you feel like a secret, for being jealous when I had no right to be. I'm sorry too, Maya replied. I shouldn't have gotten so angry. I know this is all new for you. Coming out it's a process. It's not the same for everyone. But you were right. I was being unfair. I set down my coffee and took her hand. I told my mom last night about us, and I want to tell my dad today, and Sophie, and anyone else who matters. Riley, you don't have to do all that right now. I want to. I don't want to hide how I feel about you anymore. I met her eyes. I'm sorry it took me so long to get here, but I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. Maya smiled. That beautiful smile that made my heart skip. So we're really doing this. Go in public. If you still want to be my girlfriend, then yes, we're really doing this. Of course, I still want to be your girlfriend. You idiot. She leaned in and kissed me softly. I never stopped wanting that. We spent the rest of the morning talking, really talking, about our fears and expectations and what we wanted our relationship to look like. Maya told me more about coming out to her parents, the struggles, and the eventual acceptance. I told her about the years I'd spent denying parts of myself, and how loving her had finally made me brave enough to be honest. I want to take you on a real date, I said. Somewhere nice, somewhere we don't have to hide. I'd like that. That afternoon, I told my dad. He was working in the garage when I found him, and I just came out with it, no preamble. Dad, I'm dating Maya Chen, and I'm really happy. He put down his wrench and looked at me for a long moment. Maya from your literature class? Yeah, she seems like a good person. She is. The best. He pulled me into a hug. Then, I'm happy for you, kiddo. Bring her round for dinner sometime, yeah? Yeah, I will. To down. One more to go. I met Sophie at our usual coffee shop on Sunday afternoon. She was already there when I arrived, scrolling through her phone. Hey, she looked up with a bright smile. Finally, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. Fill me in on everything. I sat down across from her, my hands wrapped around my latte for courage. Actually, there's something I need to tell you. Something important. Her expression turned serious. Okay, what's up? Remember when you asked if I was seeing someone? Yeah, and you totally dodged the question. Well, I am. Seeing someone? I mean, I took a breath. It's Maya. Sophie's eyes widened. Maya Chen, our Maya. Yeah, wait, so you and Maya are. She seemed to be processing. You're together? Like, romantically? Yes, and you're gay? I considered that. I don't know about labels yet, but I know I have feelings for Maya. Strong feelings. Sophie was quiet for a moment, and my anxiety spiked. Then her face broke into a huge grin. Oh my God, Riley, this makes so much sense. It does, yes, the way you were weird about her at first. Then you suddenly became friends, and then you were all glowy and happy. I can't believe I didn't figure it out. She reached across the table and grabbed my hands. I'm so happy for you. How long has this been going on? About a month and a half. We wanted to keep it quiet at first while we figured things out. And now I don't want to hide it anymore. I know people are going to talk, and some of them might say stuff that's not great, but I don't care. Maya's worth it. Sophie squeezed my hands. She is, and so are you. I'm really proud of you, Riley. The relief was overwhelming. So we're good. You're okay with this. Are you kidding? My two favorite people are dating each other. This is the best news ever. She paused. Although I have to say, I'm a little offended you didn't tell me sooner. I know, I'm sorry. I was just scared. I get it. But Riley, you know you can tell me anything, right? I'm always going to be on your side. I know. Thank you. We spent the next hour talking. Sophie peppering me with questions about how it started, our first kiss, what it was like being with Maya. It felt good to finally share everything with her, to not have to hide this huge part of my life. So when do I get to third wheel on a date? Sophie asked with a grin. I laughed. Soon, I promise. Monday morning, Maya was waiting for me at my locker when I got to school. She smiled when she saw me, and instead of the casual wave we usually exchanged, I walked straight up to her and kissed her hello. A few people nearby stopped and stared. Whispers started almost immediately. "Hi," Maya said when I pulled back, her eyes sparkling. "Hi." I took her hand. "Ready for this. With you, always." We walked to class together, hand in hand, and I felt lighter than I had in months. Yes, people were staring. Yes, I heard the whispers and saw the surprised looks. But I didn't care. I was done hiding. In AP Lit, we sat next to each other as always. But this time when Maya's hand found mine under the desk, I didn't pull away. The reactions were mixed. As expected, some people were supportive, congratulating us or saying they'd suspected all along. Others were uncomfortable, either avoiding us or making awkward comments. A few were outright hostile, throwing slurs in the hallways or leaving mean notes on our lockers. But for every negative reaction, there were two positive ones. The art club threw us a little celebration party. The debate team didn't even blink. My teachers treated us the same as any other couple. And Sophie became our biggest champion, shutting down anyone who tried to say anything negative, and generally being the best friend I could have asked for. "You guys are disgustingly cute," she informed us one day at lunch, where Myra and I were sharing a sandwich because I'd forgotten to pack mine. "Like, it's actually nauseating how happy you are." "You love it," Maya teased. "I really do," Sophie admitted with a grin. Part 11. The real beginning. Spring came, bringing with it a sense of new beginnings. Maya and I had been officially together for nearly 4 months, and it felt like we were finally hitting our stride. My parents invited her over for dinner regularly. Her parents warmed up to me, though I could tell they were still adjusting to having a girlfriend instead of a boyfriend in their daughter's life. But they were trying, and that meant everything. One Saturday in April, Maya took me to an art gallery opening in the city. She'd been working on a series of paintings for months, and 3 of them had been selected for exhibition. I stood in front of her pieces, bold, vibrant abstracts that somehow captured emotion in color and form, feeling overwhelmed with pride. "They're incredible," I told her. "You inspired them," Maya said quietly. "All of them. They're about finding yourself, about having the courage to love openly." I looked at the painting titles: before, during, after. The progression was clear from muted, confused colors to an explosion of brilliant hues. "I love you," I said, the words coming out before I could stop them. It was the first time either of us had said it. Maya turned to me, her eyes wide. Yeah, I took her hand. "I love you, Maya Chen. I love you too, Riley Martinez." She kissed me right there in the gallery, not caring who saw. Later that night, lying in Maya's bed watching a movie her parents had given us permission to watch with the door open. Of course, I thought about how far I'd come. 6 months ago, I'd convinced myself I hated Maya because it was easier than admitting I was attracted to her. I'd been so trapped in my own fear, so committed to the version of myself I thought I was supposed to be. But Maya had seen through all of that. She'd been patient while I figured myself out, and she'd been brave enough to love me even when I was too scared to love myself. "What are you thinking about?" Maya asked, turning to look at me. "Just how happy I am," I said honestly. Yeah, I thought I was just jealous when you first showed up. Jealous that Sophie was spending time with you. But it was never jealousy. It was love. I was falling in love with you from the very beginning. I just didn't know it yet." Maya smiled and kissed my forehead. "Well, I'm glad you figured it out eventually." "Me too." We went back to watching the movie, but my mind was already wandering to the future. College applications were due soon. Maya had gotten into our ISD, her dream school. I'd been accepted to several universities, but my top choice was Brown, which was conveniently less than an hour from Providence. We hadn't talked about it yet, about what would happen after graduation. But lying there with her, I knew we'd figure it out. We'd figured out everything else so far. "Absolutely not," I said firmly. Sophie and Maya exchanged a look. Riley, come on, Sophie pleaded. It's prom. You have to go to prom. I really don't. But I already bought my dress, Maya said, and I was really looking forward to dancing with my girlfriend in front of the whole school. I looked at her, at the hope in her eyes, and felt my resolve weakening. That's not fair. You know I can't say no when you look at me like that. I know, she grinned. So is that a yes? I sighed dramatically. Fine. But I'm not wearing a dress. Deal? Maya said immediately. You'll look hot in a suit anyway. She was right, as it turned out. The day of prom, I put on a tailored black suit that my mom had helped me pick out. And when I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. I looked confident, grown up, like the person I was becoming. Maya's dress was a deep burgundy that complemented her skin tone perfectly. When she opened her front door and I saw her, I forgot how to breathe for a second. Wow, I managed. You too, she said, her cheeks flushing. You look amazing. We took photos in her backyard, her parents beaming as they snapped picture after picture. My parents showed up too, and watching our mothers fuss over us together, adjusting bowed-in years and smoothing down fabric, made me want to cry happy tears. You girls have fun, my dad said, pulling me aside. And Riley, I'm really proud of you, thanks, Dad. At the venue, a historic mansion downtown that the school had rented for the night, we met up with Sophie and her date, a sweet guy from the theater department named Chris. The four of us walked in together, and I felt a momentary surge of nerves as heads turned in our direction. But Maya squeezed my hand, and I remembered I didn't care what anyone thought anymore. The night was magical in a way I'd never expected a school dance to be. We danced with our friends, laughed at the overly dramatic decorations, and took silly photos in the photo booth. And when a slow song came on, Maya pulled me onto the dance floor. I can't really dance, I warned her. Just follow my lead, she said, placing my hands on her waist. We swayed together, and I was acutely aware that people were watching us. But they'd been watching us for months now. This was just who we were. I'm glad you convinced me to come, I murmured. Me too. Maya rested her head on my shoulder. This is perfect. Near the end of the night, they announced prom court. I wasn't paying much attention. That kind of thing had never interested me until I heard Maya's name called as one of the nominees for prom queen. She looked genuinely surprised as she walked up to the stage with the other nominees. I watched from the crowd, my heart full of pride. When they announced the winners, Maya Chen and Emily Rodriguez, everyone cheered. But as Emily was being crowned, she did something unexpected. She took the microphone. Thank you so much for this honor, she said. But I think there's someone else who deserves recognition tonight. She looked directly at Maya and me. I want to acknowledge Riley and Maya for having the courage to be themselves, for showing all of us that love is love, no matter what it looks like. That takes real bravery. The crowd erupted in applause. Some people were cheering loudly, Sophie's voice particularly audible above the rest. I saw a few uncomfortable faces, but they were drowned out by the support. Maya came down from the stage and straight to me, wrapping her arms around my neck. Did that just happen? I asked, still processing. Yeah, she said, her eyes shining with happy tears. It really did. The last weeks of senior year flew by in a blur of finals, graduation preparations, and bittersweet goodbyes. Maya and I spent every moment we could together, knowing that summer would eventually end and we'd be heading to different schools. We'd had the conversation about long distance over dinner at our favorite restaurant, the one where we'd had our first real date. Brown and wrist are only 45 minutes apart, Maya had said, tracing patterns on the tablecloth. We could see each other on weekends. And there are breaks, I know, but it'll still be different. Different doesn't mean bad, she pointed out. We'll make it work, if you want to. I mean, of course I want to. I'd reached across the table to take her hand. Maya, I love you. A little distance ain't going to change that. I love you too, she'd smiled. That beautiful smile that still made my heart skip. We've gotten through everything else. We can get through this too. Graduation day was sunny and warm, the kind of perfect June day that felt like a promise. I sat between Marcus and Sophie in our alphabetical seating arrangement, wearing my cap and gown and trying not to sweat through my dress underneath. When they called my name, I walked across the stage to receive my diploma, and I heard Maya whooping from somewhere in the crowd. I spotted her family and mine sitting together in the stands, all of them on their feet, cheering for me. After the ceremony, there were hugs and tears and endless photos. My parents pulled both Maya and me into a group hug. "We're so proud of both of you," my mom said, wiping her eyes. That night, there was a bonfire party at the beach. Maya and I sat a little apart from the main group, our toes in the sand, watching the sunset over the water. "I can't believe it's over," I said. "4 years, just gone." "It's not over," Maya corrected. "It's just changing. Everything changes, I know, but I'm going to miss this. Miss us like this." She turned to look at me, the fading sunlight painting her face in gold. "Riley, we're not going to stop being us just because we're at different schools. We're going to grow and change, yeah, but we'll do it together. That's what love means." "When did you get so wise?" I teased. "I've always been wise. You just didn't notice because you were too busy pretending to hate me." I laughed and kissed her, tasting salt air and chapstick and happiness. "Thank you," I said when we pulled apart. "For what?" "For being patient with me, for waiting while I figured myself out, for loving me even when I was too scared to love you back properly." "Riley," Maya cupped my face in her hands. "You were always worth waiting for, and you're worth everything that comes next too." The little cafe near Brown's campus had become our regular meeting spot. Every Saturday morning, Maya would take the train up from Providence, and we'd spend the day together before she had to head back for her Sunday studio sessions. I was already there when she arrived, 2 lattes waiting on the table. She slid into the seat across from me, her portfolio bag bumping against her chair. "Hey, you," she said, leaning across to kiss me. "Hey yourself. How was the week?" "Brutal. I had 3 projects due and barely slept, but I finished them all, and I think they're actually good." She pulled out her laptop. "Want to see?" I did want to see. I always wanted to see her work, to hear about her classes, to know every detail of her life even when we were apart. We'd made it work, just like we'd promised each other we would. It wasn't always easy. There were lonely nights and missed calls and moments when the distance felt unbearable. But there were also weekend adventures in Providence and Boston, late-night video calls where we'd fall asleep with our laptops open, care packages sent back and forth filled with coffee and art supplies and love notes. And every time we saw each other, it felt like coming home. "I have news," I said, once she'd finished showing me her latest paintings. "Good news or bad news?" "Good news. Really good news." I couldn't keep the smile off my face. "I got the internship, the one at the civil rights law firm." Maya's eyes went wide. "Riley, that's amazing. And it's in Providence. For the whole summer." She was silent for a moment, processing. "Wait, you'll be in Providence for 3 months?" "Yeah, I found a sublet near your campus. I was hoping." I suddenly felt nervous. "I was hoping maybe we could spend the summer together, like actually together." Maya's answer was to launch herself across the table and kiss me so enthusiastically that she nearly knocked over both our lattes. "I'm taking that as a yes." I laughed when she finally pulled back. "Yes, yes, yes, yes." She was practically glowing. "We're going to have the whole summer together." As we sat there making plans, talking about all the things we'd do and places we'd go, I thought about how far I'd come from that girl who'd convinced herself she hated Maya Chen, who'd been so scared of her own feelings that she'd almost let the love of her life slip away. Coming out hadn't been easy. Loving openly had required more courage than I'd known I possessed. But every difficult moment, every challenge we'd faced, had been worth it to get to Saturday morning coffee dates and summer plans and a future that stretched out before us full of possibility. "What are you smiling about?" Maya asked. "Just thinking about how I used to think I was jealous of you," she laughed. "And now I know exactly what I was feeling." And I wouldn't change a single thing, not even the part where you were kind of mean to me at first. Okay, maybe I'd change that part, I admitted. But everything else, perfect. Maya reached across the table and laced her fingers through mine. Yeah, it really is. Outside, the campus was coming to life, students heading to the library, couples strolling through the quad, the whole vibrant chaos of university life. But in that moment, in our little corner of the cafe, it was just us. Just Riley and Maya. Just love, finally recognized and fully embraced. And that was more than enough.